All right, Stuart. So you just purchased a property with Jolene and myself, and you've owned several properties on the Outer Banks. I think more than 5. So it's quite a few. I would consider you an investor if you own more than 2 or 3 investment properties. You're specifically Outer Banks oriented, though. You're not buying property in Richmond and other places.
No, just the Outer Banks.
Just the Outer Banks. And so, being that rates are higher and rental income has sloped down a little bit over, the past year, how do you still convince yourself that what you just bought, because you bought a property for 1.65 million, and you own some other semi-oceanfront beach rentals as well. How did you say this is the right time to buy? This is the right house based on, the numbers, probably not being that favorable, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the first thing I looked at was I had another property at 4114 that I bought in 2005, and I knew I had a lot of equity in it. And based on selling that, I knew I was going to be able to put 30% down as opposed to only 20% down. So I knew that was going to help me in regards to a higher interest rate. So it lowered my payment by putting 30% down. And I did my projection of rental income, and the numbers worked based on my rental income was actually going to be slightly higher than what the mortgage payment was going to be. Working with you, Alex, we brought down the rate a little bit. So I consider 6.75% in the environment that we're in now a pretty good rate that we got. So I'm happy with it. And the rental reservations right now are just crazy good. I mean, we're almost at 100K already. So we get to 125K gross, I'm going to meet my cash flow, what I expected in rental income. I think the other thing I looked at, since interest rates are so high, is that most people were reducing their prices on their houses. So if it was a lower interest rate environment, this house might have been 1.7 or 1.8 million. So even though I might get a lower interest rate, I'd be in the same place because I'd be paying $200,000 more for the property.
Right.
So that's kind of how I weighed the decision, and I just felt it was the perfect house for me to sell. My other house that I had for almost 20 years was not an easy decision, but working with Jolene, who knows me probably better than I know myself.
This is true.
Felt it was the thing. It was the thing to do, and very happy with the decision I have made.
Yeah. What about looking for, when you say you found the perfect property? I want to dive into a little bit more about that because I know Jolene showed you several other, oceanfront properties.
Yep.
So, walk us through that process a little bit to find this perfect house for you that you just bought.
We did look at property that was actually oceanfront. It was like 2.2 million, but it was only a 4-bedroom house. It was a gorgeous house, but with 4 bedrooms, the numbers just did not
They weren't there.
work.
Yeah.
And recently, they already have lowered their price below 2 million. So they were overpriced. Jolene and I discussed it. We knew they were overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
And this property that we just bought, even though it's not oceanfront, it feels almost oceanfront because of the view from the top deck. And more importantly, it has a backyard, which is
a big backyard.
A big backyard. So we have the pool and the hot tub, and we'll be able to put some games back there, a fire pit. You could not do that at the other house because there was no backyard. It was just
the swimming pool
and cement, and that's it.
Right.
So this property just had, everything I was looking for in a wish list.
Yeah.
So we went for it.
Yeah. So for the audience that don't know, Stuart ended up selling a house and doing a 1031 exchange to buy this home. So he avoided a capital gains tax because he bought a house that was a greater than or equal to a value, and he therefore didn't pay any taxes when he sold his other home because he bought it within such amount of time frame. And he used as a 1031 specialist, Bill Horan. The Horan team helped him navigate those 1031 rules. And the part I wanted to kind of highlight here for the audience that they may not know as well is that how we connected the first time when you used my financing or guidance was the property that you actually sold. That's a semi-oceanfront home. The property just sold for what price did it sell for? $775. I actually did the financing on that one as well. I should know the price, but it's hard to keep it all straight. So that property, we kind of did a unique loan for that particular property when you refinanced it. So could you talk a little bit about how you kind of, mustered up to get that equity to put 30% down? Because you put 30% down on 1.65 million. And I also think
it was just 1.6.
1.6, excuse me, and correcting me. So the other part too that was interesting, that after you talk about maybe that loan scenario a little bit, is that you looked at 25% down, and I had a lot of conviction that 30% down was the way to go for cash flow reasons. So first, talk about a little bit about the house that we refinanced at one point in time that build that equity, and then talk about as well the 1031 and why you decided to put more down rather than less.
So on 4114, when we refinanced it, I had never heard of a 13-year loan. You're the one who introduced that to me, and thank you for that. We were originally looking at a 15, but when you advised me about a 13, the numbers still worked. So I just knew by doing a 13-year loan, I would be paying a lot less interest and I would build equity quicker.
Yeah.
The equity, basically it was a roller coaster ride. I bought in 2005, and then the financial crisis hit. So I was like underwater for a little bit. And then things obviously took off several years ago here. And the equity just built up, and we ended up getting 775, and I owed a little under 200,000 on the loan. And originally, when I did the numbers with the 25%, I wasn't exactly sure I would get the 775. And once I saw I could, I basically thought that the 30% is okay. I had the proceeds from the sale of the house.
What do you mean by 7075?
Well, I got 775
from
the
that
sale
of
of 4114.
Because you confirmed that number, because it was all in the air at one point in time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Very stressful.
The whole buying of the new house was contingent of selling
Yes.
the old house.
That's
I could
right.
not buy the new house
Right.
without selling. So Jolene and I, once we found the new place, we had to rush and get the
Right.
old place up for sale.
Because we put it under contract first before
Yes.
even listing the other property.
Yes.
And we did a 90-day contract or something on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he originally, if we didn't have a house for him to purchase, he didn't want to sell the original home, because the original home was turning a profit for him with rentals, and he wanted that one property that was still going to bring in a profit as far as his rentals went. So we had been talking about putting the original house on the market, but we needed to find one that was going to make him equal or about equal amount of cash flow, positive cash flow.
Right.
So that's why we were in such a tight rush, because we knew he wanted to purchase something and sell this, but at the same time it had to be timed the way it was, which was
Gotcha.
extra stressful.
Yeah. Lots of timing.
Like lots of timing, lots of well-oiled machine working and trying to get exactly what we wanted and what would work.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the 4114 house got to a point where the numbers were just wonderful. I had a 3% interest rate and I was netting 50K into my pocket. So to give that up as an accountant is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But we had purchased another property the year before in January of 24. And that property had a pool and a hot tub. And I found last year during the season that I spent more time at the newer house because it had the pool and hot tub as opposed to the house that I bought in 2005. So I just came to the conclusion that having a pool and a hot tub meant more
Right. Yeah.
than just the numbers.
Right. There were
So-
some other reasons for the property other than just the rentals, other than just the location.
Yes.
I think the new one that you bought, you kind of mentioned earlier, like the view and the location of the property is there's basically the beach road and there's no house in front of him. So he is semi-ocean front, but he's got a view that's really unbelievable because there's no house that can be built in front of it.
No,
Right.
and as a matter of fact, the property across the street that is oceanfront has his own private walkway. So he does own that piece of
Yeah.
dune with the house.
Yeah.
So
It was really
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll be able to build like a sitting area.
On the dune. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Here. Yes. So it was just everything. So basically, it just this house just had it all, and it was just like a dream house for me. And
And it has copper piping.
I'm sorry.
It has
And
copper
it has
piping.
copper.
Yeah.
It has copper in it.
Yes, exactly.
Lots
So
of digging.
yeah, so basically, just having the pool and hot tub means a lot, and it also now has the incredible view that the original
Right.
property had.
And the rents are coming in,
Yeah,
like you
the
said.
rents. Yeah, as I said,
Mhm.
we're at 95.6 right now, and we only have 2 weeks open in season. And once I get them, we should be at around 105.
Hmm.
And we still have the fall that's open, so we can do 125K gross.
That's what you're assuming.
And those, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just hoping for about 8,500 up to 8,750 a month in my pocket, and if we get to 125, I could potentially exceed that number.
Right. Well, I think I just want to say thank you to Jolene a little bit here because, to pull that scenario off, of selling your 1031 property,
Yep.
she did it so critically, like timely, like so well that it just couldn't have made the other purchase go more smoothly,
Working with Jolene for me Jolene is first my friend, then my realtor. We're so comfortable with each other. I like to see a lot of places, and she is so accommodating. If I want to go out just out of the clear blue, even if I'm not looking to buy, I just like to look just to see what's out there. So then when I do find something, I can go, oh, I saw this other place, but this place has this.
Yes.
So I'm always a comparative shopper, and I keep in the back of my mind what I saw.
Which I'm sure he's a comparative shopper
Yes.
when it comes to mortgages too.
Yes.
Exactly.
But highlighting Jolene, she hit Agent of the Month for her firm.
Mhm.
It was your first 1031 that you've done,
It was.
and
It
you're going to
was.
be doing another one here soon.
Yes.
Likely using that same 1031 group, the Haran group.
Yes.
Um,
I've passed the information on. I do believe that's who
Yeah.
should choose.
So yeah, I thought it was worth just highlighting that you just go above and beyond as an agent. It's not just one transaction. That's why Stuart's bought 7 different properties with you, and he'll have 3 transactions with you this year. Just one client will have 3 transactions with you this year alone.
Yes.
So
yes. We have one that we're getting ready to list. So,
Yes.
yeah.
we have lots to be thankful for when
Yes,
it comes to
we-
Jolene
Yeah.
Breclow. So
Jolene is the best.
she is.
Thank you guys.
Well, that's all I really wanted to highlight. Just someone who has had the experience of going through navigating the difficulties of rental income, high rates, and still seeing the opportunity of a great property for a multitude of reasons, and really a great agent to make it all happen within that timely manner. We did close on time. If you want to Google my review from Stuart, it is almost nice. He did give me 5 stars. But as we all know, lenders are a little difficult sometimes. But Stuart and I have a good time, and we always just focused on the goal, and we pull through, and that's really what matters. So I just want to say thank you for your time, and that's it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.